Hey, you know what? I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna set you up with my sister.
Is your sister hot?
Hey dude, don't talk about my sister like that.
You know you're trying to hook me up with your sister, right? I need information!
Shh, dude, I think she's coming.
Hey guys!
So, what do you think?
No,
not my sister!
Hey guys, welcome back to Super Important Views. My name's Steve, and today we got a bit of a treat for you guys. We're going to be reviewing the Bandai Tamashii Nation SH Monsterarts Biollante. And this is a figure I've been wanting to do forever, but with the figure coming out prior to the birth of our channel, just never really had a good time to actually do a review of it, and I figured with it being Halloween and spooky times, why the hell not? Biollante is definitely my favorite Godzilla monster of them all, except for Godzilla. You can't really touch him, but next second best is definitely Biollante. Really love the movie, and if you guys haven't seen Godzilla vs. Biollante, it's from 1989, I do believe. It's a really awesome movie, and how Biollante is born from the film is that Dr. Shinigami's daughter gets killed in the film, which then he tries, for a great idea, tries to merge her cells, which is her name's Erica, with a cell of a rose to try to keep her alive in some way, because she really loved roses, so figured get her soul into the rose. And when that doesn't work, why not add some Godzilla cells and see what happens? And this is what happens. Beautifulness. Terrifying beautifulness. And this movie's really good. The suits are awesome in the film, so you really should go check it out. But let's get into the figures. But first, we gotta get to the packaging. So for the packaging, it's freaking ginormous. Like, this thing just takes up a lot of real estate on the shelf if you want to keep the box. But it does look really good even without the clear plastic to show the figure on the inside. But it has a really nice image of the figure on the front with this nice smoke effect going across the packaging. Really sweet. For the side of the packaging, just has this vine here with Biollante on the side. For the other side of the packaging, just has a nice black and white image of Biollante with her name on the bottom. For the top of the packaging, just has Biollante here. For the bottom of the packaging, just a bunch of Lego Mumbo Jumbo. So for the back of the packaging, over here, I'm not exactly sure what it says, but I'm assuming it's some kind of bio for the character. Has the figure in really nice poses on the back, and also has it with a little bit of like the battle scene down here with the SH Monsterarts Heisties Godzilla. And also over here, it shows you the light up gimmick, which I'll go over you guys for a little bit. And that's pretty much it for the box. Let's get her opened up out of her cardboard prison. So now here she is out of her cardboard prison, and initially when I got her, I was just in awe of how amazing she looks. Like, this thing's beautiful. Overall, the details on it are amazing. And before we officially get into the details, I'm going to go over the gimmick for you guys real quick. Which, for her sack here, you can see it has a really nice orange to it. And what's even better is this thing actually lights up, and coming down to the bottom here, you can see here there's a switch, and it also comes with the battery, so you don't have to worry about messing around with that. But when you turn the switch to the right to the one notch, it's kind of hard to see, so flick it back and forth for you guys. The one notch glows yellow, and then when you take it over to the left with the two notches, it glows this nice red. And I'll turn off the lights real quick just so you guys can get a better look at it. So here she is with the red glow, which looks really menacing, and overall this is my preferred version. And then flicking the switch down here just so you guys can see the yellow glow, which is more of like the normal state, which also looks really nice, and it's a really nice accessory for her to have. Pretty happy with that, even though it would have been sweet to maybe have some kind of acidic spray effect or something, but that works really well for me. So bringing it in for a closer look, just so you guys can see all the nice details on it. Overall, really love the head sculpt on Biollante. Has this very nice crocodilian look to it. Really love the pupilless eyes with the white paint job. Really piercing. Really love all the way that turned out. Especially with the mouth here, with all these teeth being individually sculpted. Get it open just so you guys see a better look. This more bone color with like this more like tan kind of ivory kind of look to it. Which looks really nice. And you can see here at the roof of a mouth too. Looks really menacing and very accurate to how she looked in the film. Looks really sweet. Even has the tusk on the side here with have the same kind of ivory look to it with the black accents at the top. Really sweet. And overall for her entire body, she has this dark green paint job with little splotches of a lighter green on it, which look really nice. Really helps to give her some character on your shelf instead of just being one solid green. It just gives you a bunch of variety to look at, which is really nice. Also, I really love the plant-like dorsal fins that come along the back here. Each of those are all individually sculpted and look amazing. Even looking back here, you can just see all the work that was put into this figure, which is just a testament to how good the Monsterarts figure line is. And then you can see here for the side of the body here, with the rose thorns sticking out of it. Looks really sweet. Especially with the details for the sack, like all these, it kind of look like a root section coming along the sack here. It looks really nice. Especially up here too for the neck. Which is, to me, is probably the ugliest looking part of the figure. It's mainly here just to help cover up the sections for when you are articulating here. And you can see here there's just kind of not a lot going on in there. But when you have her head down, you just kind of tuck it up just to help hide the gapping, and then when you move her head up, you just flip it up. Again, helps to hide the gapping. And it's just one of them kind of like necessary evils. It's not too bad, it's just she has a little bit of gapping right here, which is a little bit of an eyesore, but that's probably my only real naysay on the entire figure. And then for her base, again, it has this nice kind of like tree kind of look to it. And then it has the rose thorn sticking out here as well. And then you can see it coming around for the rest of the body. Overall, just the amount of detail in this figure just always baffled me. Just how much work they had to put into this just to get each of these little sections, like right here. And there's even more of the rose thorns here on the appendages. And then just for the tentacles too, like they each look awesome. Where they have the same kind of green, but it's more of like the wash or for the light green coming up it. And then more little thorns up here, and then even has like little extra little appendages from the plant coming off of here. And then the mouths here too have that nice kind of ivory to the teeth here, if I can get the focus better. And then even on the insides of the mouth, you can see that it has its own little tongue, and it has this nice kind of flesh red to it, which is really nice. And then each of these other mouths also, as you can see here, each have their own little individual sculpts to it. Look really nice. And I'm glad that they gave us 4 of them. And another thing that would have been kind of nice for another accessory option for this figure, maybe would have been to have just some little vines on a base coming up. Which would have been nice, and maybe something that they could incorporate with the Biollante larva, which would be awesome. Kind of waiting. I hope they make that figure. And I want to have the little sound effect where it's like that'd be awesome. But for the entire figure, it's actually very solid for all the articulation that it has, which I'll go over in just a second. With that being the only real ugliness in the entire thing, and if you look at it kind of from the top, you can see it's still kind of there, but you're not going to really be looking at her from that angle too much. So overall, in terms of design and detail, I think this figure turned out superb. Alright, so to get into articulation, her head can look up about that far, and just turn it sideways so you guys can get a little better look. Looks up about that far, which also, this part can move up and down just to help cover in the gapping when you're articulating the head. So that's a really nice addition to the figure, really nice touch to that. She can look down about yay far, and then for head, she can look right about that far, left about yay far. For her mouth, you can move up and down. Nice range of motions. Num num nums. Then again, this part has some articulation to it. And then, more or less for the rest of it, each of these little limbs can move back and forth. So that's actually really sweet. And each one of these individually can move. So that's really cool. So if you want it really spread out or really close together, you got options. And then for each of these tentacles, they're all on their own ball joints. So they each have their own individual posability, which is really awesome. And you can see here that each of these little segments are where the articulation's at. So a lot of posability with each of these tentacles. So that's really nice. And then the mouths can all move up and down on each one of these. Also can rotate, pretty much do whatever you want with these vines. So overall with the articulation, for how massive of a figure this is, it's not really as complicated as say some of the other SH Monsterarts figures in the line, but it's very effective with her. So for some quick comparisons, here's Biollante compared next to the NECA's 1994 Godzilla, which actually doesn't look all that bad to me. And here she is with the SH Monsterarts Heisei's Godzilla. And here she is with the NECA's Godzilla 2014, which I still think this needs to be a movie too. And just to show off the size a little better, here she is compared next to the larger SH Monsterarts kaijus in my collection, the Destroyah and King Ghidorah. And here she is compared next to NECA's Battle Damage Gypsy Danger, which might be the wrong scale, but who really cares? So overall, Biollante, it's not much of a shocker that I love this figure. Her overall amount of detail is amazing, the articulation is awesome, and what really is a good selling point for this figure, at least for me anyways, is her overall uniqueness as a kaiju, with her being very plant-based and not having legs and arms and whatnot. She really stands out in my collection. And with her overall size and just being a very large action figure, she makes a very good centerpiece and really works well with all the other SH Monsterarts line, especially with the Godzilla. Like, they are just meant to be together for me anyways. And with her price tag being $230, at least for what I see on Amazon, and if you can find her cheaper by all means, I personally think it's worth it. With her overall size, she's definitely the biggest of the SH Monsterarts figures. Definitely has a lot of heft to it. And overall, especially comparing it with like King Ghidorah and Destroyah, she definitely seems at the right price. So if you guys are a big fan of the Godzilla vs. Biollante movie, or just Godzilla in general and you can afford it, I think this is a must-have for everyone's collection. So what do you guys think? Do you guys like Biollante? Do you think she should be in Godzilla 2? Or you guys just hate Thorns? Please let us know in the comments. We'll have closer pictures on Facebook if you want to click the link description below. Please don't be afraid to share this video around. And if you like this and want to see more stuff like this, please give us a like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.
Stomping through the city, knocking over buildings, having a good, all wonderful day.
Oh hey Godzilla Jr., how's it going? Son, why are you just staring at the wall over there and... Oh god, why did it get dark? What the hell? Huh, I wonder where he went. Who knocked over this building? Ah crap, not again. Okay, seriously, what's going on here? Did Steve not pay his light bill or something? Maybe I'll go see what Mothra's up to. Oh god, Mothra, what happened to you? Is there anything I can do to help you, man? Alright, seriously, this is getting ridiculous. Nothing? You know, it's been dark for kind of a while now. Huh. Peekaboo. Ah! Hey guys, welcome to Super Important Reviews. My name's Steve, and today I'll be going over the Bandai Tamashii Nation SH Monsterarts Destroyah. And if you guys don't already know, he is from the film Godzilla vs. Destroyah, where the premise of the film is Godzilla is having a nuclear meltdown because his heart's failing. So the military are trying to stop him from doing his whole thing of trying to end the world with his body. And then there's Godzilla Jr. who's doing his own thing, and he got very large from the previous film from Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. Because of all the radiation that Godzilla's been putting off, it increased him in size. It kind of made him look more Godzilla-ish. And then there's the Destroyah factor in the film, which Destroyah was made by these little crustaceans that get mutated by the Oxygen Destroyer from Godzilla in 1954. Which throughout the course of the film you see him in various forms, and this would be one of them, and eventually evolve into Destroyah. And then there's big epic confrontations in the film. It's awesome. If you guys haven't seen the film, you really need to go check it out. But moving on to the figure here, as you can see, it's not currently in the packaging, but I had a request to do this video, so decided to actually bring this to you, and I actually saw the box for this too, which is really awesome packaging. Really love the image of Destroyah over here, very menacing. Even has some of the extra logos here on the bottom for 2012 when he came out. Destroyah's emblem. But if he was inside the package, you see a lot of them in here where you have like his giant wingspan would be coming across. It looks really sweet. For the top of the packaging, you got the awesome Batman logo with Destroyah in the middle of it. Destroyah. Destroyah. For the side of the packaging, you get this nice black and white image of a Destroyah with his body in the background. On this side here, you get Destroyah, this nice kind of sparkly purple lettering, which really is hard to see with the red going on in the background, but it's pretty cool. For the back of the packaging, you just get a nice image of the figure inside the packaging and all these dynamic poses. Evil looking Godzilla in the background. A lot of stuff I can't understand. And some legal mumbo jumbo. So, without further ado, let's get him open. Yeah, he's not in here. Let's just get into him. So now that we have Destroyah out of my display case, we're going to go over his accessories first, which is pretty quick because he literally comes with nothing. Which is a bit of a bummer for this guy, which it would have been nice if you would have had his Oxygen Destroyer beam just to give him a little bit more to do in the display case, which isn't that hard to live without because I have access to other beam effects, so I can get that effect to work if I need to. But what would have been really sweet if he would have had his horn laser so he could be chopping into some kaiju's flesh, which is something that would have been really nice and really unique for this actual figure and would have been a great accessory to come along with him. But I can understand why he didn't come with it, because initially when I got him, he was around $120 and I think some change after that. Which, to me at the time, is not a very bad price for an import figure that has this guy overall scale. And Destroyah is a freaking huge kaiju, with some of the only monsters in that case being relatively, in comparison to him, being King Ghidorah, Biollante, and my new addition with Otachi. There isn't too many other figures that can really stand toe-to-toe with this guy in terms of just overall scale and bulkiness, which is something that for the price is really appreciated. But again, would really love to have seen some beam effects, but I guess I could live without it, because this guy, in terms of just overall details, is phenomenal, which, coming in for a little bit of a closer look. So first we'll go over his head sculpt, which looks amazing, by the way. Really love the blood red and blacks that he's got going on in his face here, and pretty much the rest of the body, which you think for this guy being very dark in color that he would kind of maybe blend in with a lot of the other things on the shelf, but he really does stand out with just overall having a very demonic look and very contrasting to a lot of the other kaijus from the series. Like, just look at these eyes. Are these the eyes of a kaiju that you want to fudge with, man? I don't think so. Which is one of my first major actual complaints about this kaiju is actually his eyes, which you can see are jet black. So he has this very kind of shark look to him, which in the film, they're actually more of a yellow color, maybe even slightly on the orange tinge, kind of like a good fiery effect for his eyes. But no, he's just dead inside. So it would have been really nice to have seen that effect. Now, I've actually contemplated on getting a paint pen to actually color over those, but for this guy being so expensive, I just kind of decided to leave it alone. But for the rest of his face, really love the way his mouth turned out. It looks really gnarly with all the teeth kind of sticking out of his lips there. And then he has even a second row of teeth inside the mouth, and even his tongue's detailed really nice with a nice fleshy red to it. Now, the side of his mouth, he even has some teeth here, which they kind of look like they'd be articulated, but they don't really move at all, so I wouldn't play around with those too much. And then for his horn, has a very nice translucent plastic and has this kind of overall ember effect to it. Looks really sweet. Even on the upper part of his head, he has a lot of details going on here, which looks really awesome. Then coming down to his chest, has this overall fruity color scheme to it with this nice peach with this more of a plum color covering over top of it, and has this nice gloss finish to it, and very contrasting to a lot of the rest of what this kaiju is doing. What would have been really nice for his chest is, in the film, this is actually what I would deem his weak spot, where Godzilla comes up to him and starts smacking him in the chest here and knocking all these little plates down, and they were actually movable in the film, and on the figure they're fixated in there, which doesn't really bother me as much, but it just would have been a nice little added effect to the actual figure. And then for his arms, they're freaking huge with all these nice spikes coming off the top of them, and overall having this black color scheme to him with this short little stumpy arms and gnarly looking hand here, which I don't know how it holds on to anything, but we're just gonna run with it. Has this nice bone color to the nails here, look really sweet. And then moving on to the wings here, which is the scariest part of this entire figure. Because as you can see, these wings plastic is really thin, and there's a lot of little segments here, just because when you want to fold it in, they can shift in on each other to make it look pretty realistic. And then you can expand the wing out and adjust accordingly to get it to look good as well. And compared to the other flying monsters, he's the only one with really this kind of technique going on with them. And just with this being really thin plastic, I'd just be really careful when you guys are adjusting this accordingly. Especially just in general, because with wings, you think you would be able to put him in a flying pose, which he actually can kind of lift his head up a bit so that you could actually get him look like he's flying around. But with this guy being so heavy and these wings being so fragile looking, I would just be terrified to put this guy on a stand. Because using this thing just seems like it'd be a horrible idea with this guy. So I just really wouldn't recommend putting him in any kind of flying pose unless you can really find a nice sturdy base to keep him upright. But so the wings are just mainly just for kind of aesthetic reasons, which again, for the actual movie, I don't really could see how this monster could have actually flown anyways, but it's a pretty cool effect nonetheless. Again, keeps to kind of keep with the demonic theme that he's got going on here. And then for these guys, little mini wings here, which look really nice as well. Overall, not as elaborate as the big wings here, but still a pretty cool added little piece. Then coming along his legs here, you can see that he has a bunch of the same kind of nails and bones sticking out of his knees and feet here, which seems a little excessive to me. Looks really sweet, don't get me wrong, but it just seems a little bit like overkill, but has the same kind of bone colorings going on with all the spikes and claws here. Looks really sweet. He's got a little tiny one here, and actually even has detail on the underpad of his feet, which is really awesome touch on this figure. Granted, again, you're not going to really ever be able to see this thing because he's going to probably just be standing at your shelf, but it's cool that they thought to incorporate that. Then even for his lower abdomen, especially right here where the shell kind of connects to his waist here, looks really nice. Has this nice organic kind of look to it, which kind of helps to offset a lot of the shell pattern going on here and kind of reminiscent of what you see in like the Guyver, so that's actually pretty cool. And then moving on to the back here, you'll see a lot more of the blood red and black here coming along the back here, with each of these little crests here being individually sculpted, which is really awesome looking. And it's just, again, really helps to pull off the overall crustacean look that this guy has going on here. And then moving along the tail here, looks really cool as well. Show you guys the underneath of the tail. It's actually really dark in comparison to the top, because this has a lot more red going on with it. And then his little pinchers at the end of the tail. Rawr. So as far as articulation, he has a lot going on here. Some of it gets hindered a bit with a lot of the plastic here, but he's still pretty impressive nonetheless, where his head can look up about yay far, down about yay far. Can look side to side, really nice. His mouth can move up and down and can't actually close all the way, which is a bit of a bummer. Like, he's always got this kind of like kissy face going on where he's like, mm. And then for his arms here, can pretty much rotate all the way around if you really wanted it to, which is actually pretty surprising, to be honest. Shoulder pads can move in and out a little bit, nothing too crazy going on. You can flap a little bit. Then for his actual arm at the lower part of the shoulder pad, it can rotate, move up and down a little bit. Then also has a joint here at the part of the elbow there. And then his hand can rotate all the way around and has a little bit of play to it. And then each of these claws are also posable where they can move in and out and a little bit side to side. For his waist, he can rotate a little. Not a whole lot. Not really much of a crunch there going on. Also, his legs can move about that far outward, about that far inward. For his leg, can move back about yay far, forward about yay far. There's a bend here at the knee, a little bit of a rotation there. Also at the feet, not too much of a pivot up and down. Really nice rotation though, and then can also move side to side. So for his wings, can move up about yay far, down about yay far, which isn't a whole lot of range of motion going on. And then for the base of the shoulder, can move up and down, can also rotate all the way around. For his little wings here, can move a little bit, also has a rotation here. And then for his tail, you actually get a decent amount of play with it. Doesn't have quite as many segmented joints as some of the other kaijus in the line, but still overall decent amount of play there. And then even the pincers up here, setting him down for a sec, can actually move in and out a little bit. Nothing too elaborate, but it still gives you a little bit of play with it, and it can also rotate a little bit up and down. So for his articulation, it's actually really impressive. The one thing I noticed though is that if you want him to be standing upright, you're gonna probably be using his tail as a support so that he can actually stand. Because when I try to lean him forward, he has a lot of back weight to him, so he kind of just plops back, and the way his knees are and stuff, they don't really bend quite that well. And you can get him to stand, it's just a bit of a chore. So that's a wee bit of a bummer because, as you can see, blah, sits down. So even with all the articulation, he's kind of hard to get him to do like very intimidating poses. Like, there we go. Got him to stand up a little bit better. But as you can see, with a little bit of finesse, or what I just used some brute force, you can get him to stand without the use of his tail. It just takes a little bit of finagling to get him into these positions. But let's get him next to some of the other kaijus and see how he stacks up next to him. So for some quick comparison, here's the SH Monsterarts Destroyah with the SH Monsterarts Destroyah Evolution set. And here's some of the other characters from the film with the Super X3, the San Diego Comic-Con Exploding Godzilla, and Godzilla Jr. And here he is with one of the only other Destroyers that I own, the Bandai Creations Destroyah, still in the box. I'm so glad I got to replace you. And here he is with the NECA Pacific Rim Otachi. And here he is with the Ultra X Ultra Mantiga, because he still hasn't made it back in the case yet. And here he is with Chibi Destroyah. So overall, Destroyah, his articulation is amazing. His details, while still really good, could be slightly better, especially in the eye region, because to me his eyes just seem very soulless and don't help to accentuate the character in any way. And another thing that's a little bit of a bummer here with Destroyah is that since he doesn't come with the accessories, if you want to set up cool poses kind of like this one, you're going to have to use some of the other parts you've gotten with previous entries in the SH Monsterarts line, which is a little bit of a bummer for this figure. So while not being my favorite SH Monsterarts figure, I still think he's one of the coolest looking SH Monsterarts figures. Let's just face it, Destroyah is a badass looking kaiju, and they did an awesome job of translating him from the movie to the figure. And when people check out my collection, he's one of the ones that people ask me about the most just because of just how he looks in contrast to all the other kaijus. And in the end, I really do recommend picking up this guy, especially if you're really into SH Monsterarts figures, because your collection is just not complete without the Oxygen Destroyer himself. So what do you guys think? Have you guys seen Godzilla vs. Destroyah? What's your favorite Godzilla villain, or is seafood just not your thing? Please let us know in the comments. We'll have closer pictures of him on Facebook. If you want to click the link in the description below. Please don't be afraid to share this video around. If you like this and want to see more stuff like this, please give us a like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.
Hey, welcome to Super Important Reviews. My name's Steve, and today I'll be going over the NECA's Mascar Predator from AVP.
What is this, Steve?
This is the Mascar Predator from Alien vs. Predator. It's my new action figure I've acquired, and we're going to go over it.
Steve, we talked about this, okay? We need something new on the Super, so we're going to review something new.
This is literally like the newest thing I've gotten.
No, I got something newer for you.
Well, technically no, because I got this before on your birthday.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible person.
Yeah, it's okay. We get it.
Yeah.
But still, though, we're doing this thing. We got so many requests for this. We're going to do
What
this.
are you even talking about? Oh, hey, Gigan. Alright, so I may have gotten a SH Monsterarts Gigan for my birthday. But Ernest, we gotta do the new figure. We gots to get the views.
Steve, this is new.
But this is newer.
I got this.
Oh, he took it away from me. Alright guys, I guess instead we'll go over the Bandai Tamashii Nation SH Monsterarts Gigan, which came out in 2014.
Steve,
It's 2016, Ernest.
that's new for you, man. It's still new.
If you guys don't know who this is Gigan from his appearance in Godzilla Final Wars. Came out in 2004, which is the last Japanese Godzilla movie we've gotten. Also, I want to point out in this video, we will be going over some spoilers from the movie, so if you guys haven't seen it, some of his accessories are actually caused by some actions that happen in the movie. So we will be talking about it, so if you haven't seen it, definitely recommend going to check it out before you check out this review.
He's got a chainsaw.
And I gotta say, this is probably the most requested review on this channel.
Exactly.
Which is crazy, though. That's the reason we're doing this one today.
Steve will cut and paste some requests in here, probably.
If I can find them. So without further ado, for the packaging, get a nice image of Gigan where you can't really see his face on the packaging. We get
Why
nice.
are they hiding it for?
So you can, I guess you can see the claw a little bit better. I guess. With the 60th anniversary, 2014, Gigan, Bandai Tamashii Nation. Side of the packaging, actually got a lot better shot of Gigan, which is pretty sweet. Other side, just not a whole lot going on here other than the slash on the cardboard. More Gigan.
Wait. Where did these slashes come from? It looks like a claw. He doesn't have claws.
Chainsaw? You did it more than once? Stop questioning. And on the back of the packaging, you just get him with some dynamic poses. Actually, not a whole lot of dialogue on the back of this one, unlike a lot of the other SH Monsterarts figures. It's just pretty much all the poses and all the stuff you can do. And some we go mumbo jumbo. So let's get this guy open up out of his cardboard prison. Alright, so now that we've got to open up out of his cardboard prison, first we're not going to go over the accessories. We're actually going to go over the figure here first, because I don't really want to be attaching all of them yet. So we'll go over his details, and then we will swap out the parts towards the later half of this video. And also, if you guys hear birds chirping or anything randomly going on in the background, my air conditioner went out, and it's really hot in here, so we decided to open a window. Because two guys in a small room does not work well together.
Wait, didn't we just complain like last week how cold it is?
It's Michigan. This is how this works. It went from like 30 degrees to 84 reasons. I'm going to state this right now. The reason why I haven't done this review in a while is just because I never really had the urge to buy this figure.
Why not?
Because mainly I have a lot of 2004 Gigans already. And there's not an SH to really go with him. Like, he's literally the only one from Final Wars.
So wait, they only made him and they quit?
Yeah, this is the only one they've released as of right now. Because the only other Millennium figure they have is the Yuji Sakai Godzilla 2000, which is more of like a concept version, while this guy is more suit accurate. But then again, Also made by Yuji Sakai, so I don't know how that works really. Now, after saying all this, because it's the main reason why he's pretty much the last one I needed out of the figures that aren't like retools or recolorings. Now that I actually have this guy in hand though, this figure's awesome. As far as head sculpt, looks freaking fierce, pretty much like the movie. It's awesome. I love his Cycloptean eye here, which is actually really cool because it has that kind of grid pattern on the inside that's kind of like a bike reflector. Or how they like to do the insect figures like Batra and Mothra. Which looks really, really good on this figure.
You know what that reminds me of? The comic book Cyclops from like the future, where he actually like has like that little beam that goes in his eye from like the RoboCop, I think it is.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. The only thing that's kind of weird is he has this really giant beak with these little sipes coming out the side of his head, which is pretty accurate for how he looked in the Showa series, but it's just more of an updated look. But he has these ridiculously oversized teeth on the inside of his mouth. And it kind of hinders his articulation because he can't actually close his mouth. Like, this is literally all the articulation you get out of it.
Is that suit accurate, though?
Yeah, you don't really see him closing it too much. At least from what I can remember. It's been a little bit since I've seen Final Wars. It's a good movie, though. You guys should go check it out if you haven't. But you can also see on the inside of his mouth where he has his tongue details, which are actually in a very, very dark red. But the rest of his mouth is more gunmetal with the metallic silver on the beak portion. And then his entire body is in this really nice black and metallic blue coloring. Sort of like Alien. Like a lot of the NECA aliens are kind of in the same color scheme.
Yeah. Which
again looks really sweet. Really love the metallic horn up here. Which is cool too because it has like little indents on it to give a little bit more wear to it. And then I'm starting to move down to his neck. You can notice all these little spike protrusions on the back of his neck. Which the only thing that really sucks about that is when articulating them, you have to really worry about those coming into contact with each other. Which the other thing that sucks is since all this is metallic silver paint, if it scuffs, it shows. So that's something to be concerned about. Neck detail looks really nice too, which you get a lot more of that similar detailing like you would see on the Xenomorph. Which again, pretty much, this guy's just pretty much one giant, like, if Gigan got impregnated by a Xenomorph, this is pretty much what it came out.
He's amazing.
Yeah. It's cool too, because he even has more of these little spike protrusions on the upper portion of his shoulders. And then this buzzsaw here. Holy cow. The thing that sucks though is I wish they would go into the body a little more. Like, granted, it kind of helps with the articulation a little bit there. But it would have been nice if they could have still like rest on the inside, because if you guys, if I lift this up a little bit, you notice on the section right here where it kind of squeezes in a little bit. I'm not 100% sure if that's how that's supposed to be, but on mine it's a little, I'm going to say warped. But I imagine that's mainly there to help with his articulation for the lower portion of his chest here. But the chainsaw blades do look really gnarly, especially when you compare it to the Showa Gigan. And the same with his giant hook hands, which has these little rods sticking out, which these are what he actually tries to lasso Godzilla with.
Wait, those shoot out?
Yes, these actually shoot out. The figure, no. But in the movie, he actually uses them to try to like grapple Godzilla into bringing him closer to him, into the buzzsaws. And then Godzilla goes...
Explosions?
Yes. That's how we get the accessory pieces. But for the spike claws, they're in the same metallic silver like you see on the top of his head. But these don't look quite as forged as, say, the spikes on the top of his head. These look a little bit cleaner. But overall, pretty gnarly. And just overly ridiculously huge. Like, this guy should have came out in the 90s. And then moving down to his legs, where you get his kneecaps with even more spikes on them. His feet, which are very reminiscent of the Showa Gigan, looks really good. Same metallic silver, more of that metallic black and blue on his legs. But he also has like these little raised edges, kind of like you would see on Red King. Or some of the other kaijus. Which isn't very traditional for Gigan, but it does help the detail stand out a little bit there. And then you have these blood red membranes connecting these black spines, which looks really awesome with these, again, more spiked little nails coming out of the top of them. Very Spinosaurus looking.
This guy's ready for a battle.
Oh yeah, this guy's ready for some confrontations, even though he kind of fails at most of the movie. Cough, cough. But anyways. And then also for his tail, you have even more blades on the back sections of each of these little plates, which are individually posable. I will say that, and that is really cool. Again, the thing that sucks is metallic silver, all this stuff kind of bumps in together. A little bit scary.
So it feels like you're just going to play with this thing one time, set it up, and never touch it again, Steve.
Yes, when you're articulating this thing, be very, very very careful. And then for the tip of his tail, you have his blender. Guess what I'm going to call this. Gigan is really good at making smoothies, which I actually really want one right now because it's freaking hot in this room. And he also has these little nails sticking out of the back of his knees too.
What is the purpose for those?
I don't even know, but it's cool. That's all that matters.
I feel like they just put random spikes on this guy just for the heck of it.
Again, this guy came out literally 10 years too late.
They were like, yeah, you know what? Just because we can, we're going to do this.
And then before we get into his articulation, the only die cast that I'm really noticing on this figure is right here on the feet. For these little blades right here.
Why his feet?
Just to help with keeping him steady on your shelf. So he doesn't move around as much. Gives him a little bit more heft, which is nice. Although it might have been nice to maybe see a little bit more on the upper body. But I'm not feeling anything else. The rest of this feels pretty plastic to me. And for his articulation, which scares the crap out of me, but we're going to do this. His head can look about that far up, that far down. Can also rotate side to side. He has a lot of movement in his head, which is really cool. And there's even a ball joint at the lower portion of his neck where it connects into the upper portion of his chest. These little plates on his shoulders actually swivel up and down.
Which are amazing.
Just give you a little bit more articulation, so his arms can move about that high up, that high down, can move forward about that far, backwards about that far. Also have a little bit of a swivel at the upper portion of the shoulder. His elbows are on a double joint, sort of, so they could bend in about that far, straighten out about that far. You get a little bit of rotation out of here, but nothing too crazy. For his hands are also on a ball joint, so they can rotate all the way around, and do have a little bit of play with them, so you can move them in a circular motion. The buzzsaw blades on the front can pop out a little bit, so his chest can actually, it's a pain in the butt to try to do, but it can move a little bit forward, a little bit back. Not a whole lot. Also can swivel a little bit side to side if you want it to. For his legs, can move outwards about that far, inwards about that far. Has a rotation at the upper portion of the thigh. So his leg can straighten about that far, bend in about that far. Not really any rotation at the upper portion of the knee. Lower portion though, has a little bit of a swivel to it. His feet can bend upwards and downwards, and also can pivot a little bit side to side. Sails on his back can move in and out, and the center sail can move forward and back.
Well, that don't look that bad.
Yeah, which is again mainly for flying, but it also helps with the articulation for the upper section of his body. And then for his tail, can pretty much bend however you want because each of these are on their own individual ball joints. Just be careful when moving it because you have to be careful of all these little blades on the top section of his plates. So I don't recommend moving it too fast. Just make sure you keep an eye on each of these when moving them. And then the tip, or what we call the blender, can rotate all the way around. Alright, next we'll start attaching our accessories to Gigan, which, how you do this? Slow and steady. So what you're going to want to do, starting with Gigan, is you're going to want to take his little pincers on the side of his mouth. You're just going to pop these out, which are on tiny little pegs. So when you pull them out, just be very careful. You're going to want to go straight out of the head. Which on mine come out pretty loose. Like I actually had to add a little bit of nail polish to the top of this so it actually would stay inside of his head a little bit better. But we're just going to remove these, set these aside. Then you're going to take the blade on the top portion of his head. I'm just going to pull that out, which you just pull straight out from the top of his head. Then you're going to detach his head, which what you do is just going to grab pretty much, I grab right here where the little pincers come in. And you just pull straight up from the neck. So you want to try to pull out this way. And then the only thing that sucks is each of these little joints want to move too, and you also have to worry about this little spike down here too, poking at you while you're doing it. You're going to pop the head off, set the head aside. This part's going to be not attached to anything, so this part comes off pretty easy too. Just make sure when you set it aside, don't lose it. And the loose part is going to be the one that's going on top. Now, you're going to want to grab at the base of the neck, do the same thing like you did with the head, and pull upward. Which, it's kind of hard because, again, he has a lot of pointy parts and stuff that shifts.
Struggle is real.
Yeah, it's also hard to do on camera because you're trying to pull it up without messing up anything and also looking through a screen. Alright, so this is all detached. Next, we take our accessory piece, which what this is Gigan's replacement neck after Godzilla blows his head off at the beginning of the movie. You're going to attach this onto the ball joint. You're going to make sure that the ball joint's pretty centered because otherwise it's going to have a really hard time going into the socket here. And then when attaching it, Oh, actually, it looks like there's a little bit of die cast right there. You don't really see it, but right here. You guys might notice underneath the buzzsaw, looks like there's a... I'm not sure if that's the plastic portion right here. That might be this, the plastic portion. I can't feel it, Ernest. Looks silver. Not sure what it is. So then you're just going to make sure that this little nub on the front portion of the neck is lined up with the buzzsaw right here with the little grooves. And then you just move the shoulder plates a little bit to the side so that you can push it downward. Also watch out for the silver portion on the back here, not coming into contact or scraping on the back section of the spine here. Then you just line it up, push it downward, and you renew. Plates might move a little bit. On mine, it doesn't really, like, you'll feel, you don't hear it pop in, but you'll feel it once you get it in there because it won't want to lift back up. Then you take Gigan's head, attach it on the ball joint here. Then you're going to reattach his horns and little pincers with his replacements, which are a little bit more fitting for his buzzsaw hands, but you just put them into the peg holes here. And the pincers, it doesn't really matter which side you put them on. They're pretty universal. So you just want to go in straight. Again, be pretty careful because these are really thin pegs, so you just want to worry about that. And then sometimes they don't want to go in easily. Like this one's actually a little bit thicker on this side, so we're going to swap that out real quick. Now we have Gigan's upper body assembled. Next, we have his buzzsaws, which is literally how I'm going to be displaying him on my shelf. So how you get these on is you're going to want to grab at the base of the forearm and then right here on the back section of his claw. And he's going to pull straight out. Pretty easy to do. And then it might seem funny that the ball joint went into the spike, but that's how it is on these ones. Because you can even look on the back section of the buzzsaw here. Has a ball joint there as well, so he's a crap ton of ball joints. Then you do the same thing for the other side. Pull it straight out. Easy to do. And then those buzzsaws will work on both sides, so you don't have to worry about left or right. And then you just do the reverse, where you just want to go straight into the forearm. Easy enough. Grab the other one. Pop it in. I like the buzzsaws too, because they go in stupid easy. And now we have Gigan with his buzzsaws, which you get to see in the later portion of the movie where he fights Mothra. Accessories are really awesome looking on this. This is definitely going to be the way I'm going to be displaying on my shelf, because I don't have any of my Gigan figures, none of them have the buzzsaws. And personally, I just think this looks really cool compared to the normal little hook hands on this guy.
Do they move, Steve?
Alright, so Arnaz is definitely correct, which for the details on these are amazing. Which has this really nice metallic silver, some gunmetal, a lot of really good details. And the little blades right here are actually rubber, which is really nice because if these were actually plastic, I imagine these would be really easy to break. So I'm really glad that they did that, but these just have a lot more detail than what you get on the little claws too. So I really love this accessory. And they can also shift. So if you grab them, you can actually move them, which is really cool. You have to do it yourself. Like, there's no little gimmick that actually rotates these things. But I still think it's really cool. I wouldn't do this a whole lot because I feel like this could actually break real easy, especially over time. Details on his head, you can see his neck brace is what I like to call this. Because how they reattach his head, they just use a lot of metal plating and just kind of stapled it together. That's what it appears. Looks really cool overall. On the figure, what this does though is when you have this attached, he doesn't have as much articulation on the head though, but a lot of it's you can move the head side to side. You can shimmy the neck side to side. But for left and right motions, it's nothing crazy. And then for just a little bit of a closer look at the pincers, which have a little bit more of like a praying mantis shape to them, which is really cool. And then some serrated edges for his horn here, which is really nice looking as well. And for some quick comparison, here we have the SH Monsterarts Gigan compared next to some other Bandai Vinyl Gigans with the 12-inch tall version with minus some goofy little legs, and the standard 6-inch version. And here's compared next to some SH Monsterarts figures with Biollante and Mogira.
Steve, I got a quick question for you, this comparison.
Alright.
Out of all the Pacific Rims, why are you comparing them to that thing? No,
because it's Ultimate Striker.
The other side.
This is the NECA Pacific Rim Horizon Brave.
Why are you comparing him to that thing?
Because he's awesome.
The thing is,
even though I had to fix him, but he's awesome.
The thing is hideous. Look at that thing.
But he has a security camera for a face. How can you hate that?
Exactly. What is that on his shoulders?
All right. First, this is also the Ultimate Striker Eureka from Pacific Rim. What these do is you push the button.
Whoa, that goes far. It went under your couch.
Yeah, so see, the other one doesn't really shoot well, but the one does. The little missiles, and they're awesome. We did a review. You guys should go check it out. And here's some other NECA figures with the Pacific Rim Mutavor and Godzilla 1954. And finally, here he is with some more Bandai vinyls with my favorite of the Bandai vinyls. And then we have the American Bandai Creation version.
I like the green one, Steve, better.
You would. So here he is with some Trendmaster figures with the Deluxe Gigan with sounds and the large scale version. I forget the official name, but he also had lights and sounds. So overall, with the S.H. Monsterarts Gigan, this figure, detail-wise, is some of the best in the line. With the details, the paint job are all fantastic, even like the little bit of die casting in his feet, and his accessories are awesome and very movie accurate.
This is like one of those situations where I think the actual like accessories make him a better monster or a better figure. And I don't know why, it's just to me, he looks way better in this form, you know?
Yeah, he definitely comes with a little bit more than you get with some of the other SH Monstars figures, because usually most of them come with like a beam effect, if anything at all, and then some of the other ones might come with a little more accessories, but for Gigan, definitely is very fitting for what he gets. The only thing I would say as a negative is his articulation's a little bit scary. He does have a lot of it, but it's a lot of finessing with the articulation to make sure that nothing bad's going to happen, because he does have a lot of very tiny breakable parts. So I definitely recommend if you guys are going to be playing around with him, he's for somebody that definitely has some patience with it.
Yeah, definitely, because a lot of the paint can get chipped on him, especially on his blades and stuff like that.
But I do recommend this figure to you guys, and even though he's from the final Godzilla film, he should not be the final figure in your collection. But what do you guys think? Do you guys own the SX Monsterarts Gigan? What's your favorite Gigan action figure? Is Megalon just more your thing? Please let us know in the comments. We'll closer pictures on Facebook. You want to click the link in the description below, and help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe, become a ranger today, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.
Bye bye.